This winter, Piccione Pastry has chosen to highlight and donate a portion of sales to several nonprofit organizations. And joining me from Piccione Pastry is head pastry chef Sandia Hoorman and program assistant for the Immigrant and Refugee Women's Program, AJ Arena. Welcome, AJ and Sandia. So nice to have you here.
Thank you.
So you guys have an interesting collaboration going on. And Sandia, why don't you tell us a little bit about Piccione Pastry first? Let's start with that and get all excited about the pastries, and then we'll talk about you.
Piccione Pastry, this year we'll have been in the Del Mar Loop for 3 years, this April. And it was started by Richard Nix. His family actually has a lot of history in the Del Mar Loop. His grandmother, I believe, worked at the theater, the Varsity Theater down there. She, I guess, was integral in bringing Rocky Horror Picture Show down there and starting that, you know, the showing of that film and everything. And so Richard picked the Loop as the area to have Piccione. And Piccione is actually a family name.
Yeah.
So I guess a labor of love, you know, for him.
Yeah,
and,
so it's an Italian pastry shop that's not on the hill, in the Loop, which is a really neat place to have it. I mean, there's, you know, you don't have a lot of pastry shops in that part of town, and I've seen those lines out the door. So you're doing something right, Sandy. You were trained as a pastry chef, right? And so tell us about Italian pastries. How's that different?
I guess with being trained as a pastry chef, you know, all your basic recipes are going to be the same. And so it's just specializing in finding the different, I guess, recipes that might be, most people might not know of. Like say here in St. Louis, like we have a product that we offer in the store, the Sfogliatella. I don't think there's any place in St. Louis that has that. So we're the only one.
That. What is that?
So it is a laminated dough. So we make the dough in-house, we laminate it. It's which is like pooling the dough out and into a really thin sheet and spreading it with butter.
Like these words are
you're
talking chef talk right now. Okay, so so they spread out the dough. And then
spread out the dough really thin. I mean like paper thin. You can see through it if you lift it up, and spreading it with butter and rolling that up until you have a log of all of the dough, and then that is cut into pieces, and we spread that out and fill it with a semolina and ricotta candied orange filling. Yeah, and it's big, like say on the East Coast, I believe they make it. I was actually told by one of our patrons that since I could make that, I could get a job on the East Coast, you know, at any time. Yeah,
so it's really a rare skill, I guess, and treat.
Yeah, it's a very interesting process that I learned from one of our, well, I guess my mentor here in St. Louis, who worked at the pastry shop before me.
Okay, good. So the Piccione Pastry business is doing well, and I've seen, like I said, those lines out the door late at night sometimes.
Yep.
And you all have a really interesting program of giving back to the community. So tell us a little bit about that.
So Pastries with a Purpose, we do that twice a year, and so summer and the winter. And we chose 3 organizations, and they get a proceeds from us for the entire week's sales.
Okay, and this month,
yes,
so February, we're going to have next week AJ's organization, the Immigrant and Refugee Women's Program.
Yep.
That's right.
So you guys were selected, and what's the selection process? How is that? Do you know? Or
well, we get all of the applications in, and we take a look at them. We meet with the owner of the company, all of the managers, and we just decide on what would work for that time.
So AJ, were you guys pretty excited to be selected?
Oh yeah, we were really thrilled. We're very excited about cannolis being a part of our fundraising process.
Yeah, exactly. And an Italian baker. Do you have Italian women that you've helped?
I believe that there have been some throughout the program, not as many as from Iraq, say, currently in St. Louis.
Yeah, exactly. So give us a brief synopsis of what it is that you all do, and then we're going to take a break and come back and learn much more. So.
Sure. Well, we set up volunteer English teachers with local immigrant women and refugees. helping them to learn English, but also helping them to learn basic life skills. We're kind of that first step in breaking that terrible isolation many of these women feel when they first come to St. Louis and they don't know the language and maybe don't have that family connection that they once had.
So these women who are coming to St. Louis, we have lots of immigrants. I don't think everyone knows how many are coming to our city every year. And these women, many of them don't speak any English.
Right, yeah, we have women in the program of all different levels. Some are starting very basic, learning their alphabet and basic phonics, and others are working on citizenship or getting a GED. So a wide range of students.
Fantastic. Okay, good. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about how AJ and Sandia are working together next week. We'll have more on pastries with a purpose after this. Stay with us.